Yay, here we are. I'm Tina Vendoven, your practical joy alchemist and your host for the Joy Evolution Summit, where we have the opportunity to spend this beautiful sacred time with some of the most inspiring joy beacons from around the world. And today, I am really delighted to be sharing time with my beautiful new friend, Marcia Mariner. You know how you meet someone and it's like you've known each other, well, definitely a long, long, long time, even if not in this lifetime. That's the connection that we have. And I'm so looking forward to introducing you to Marcia and hearing her beautiful story. Marcia Mariner is a sacred worth coach and a visionary, cutting-edge, sacred feminine leader and therapeutic coach. She skillfully empowers awakening, purpose-driven women to wake up to their sacred worth and create their dream lives in reverence for and in full alignment with their sacred feminine essence. A licensed mental health counselor, heart-centered hypnotherapist, trainer, speaker, expert columnist for Aspire magazine, and faculty member of Inspired Living University, Marcia takes a radical stand for women to put themselves first. She calls this the Me First movement. Through her highly refined 5-step sacred worth ascension process, Marcia gathers and empowers committed visionary women to reach their full potential. By walking them through her 5-step process, women learn how to free themselves from the trance of unworthiness, develop a sacred wealth mindset, discover their soul purpose, and cultivate the joy of serving the world from overflow, not depletion. Through transformational sacred sisterhood circles, retreats, in-person and online visionary women's transformational programs, Marcia's intuitive and empowered leadership creates a sacred container for women to stop sabotaging their success, feel soulfully worthy of wealth, and take that leap of faith to joyfully and powerfully thrive. And that is exactly what Marcia is going to be sharing with us today, to take that leap and joyfully thrive in your sacred business. So welcome, Marcia. What a joy to be here with you.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel the same way. It's the joy of the journey that is the most precious thing, right? So as we get to meet along the way.
Yeah.
So blessed.
So
Yeah.
beautiful. So I would love for you to share with our audience a bit about your journey to joy. We've been talking about, what it means to take joy from a conceptual something from your mind, you think about it, to actually embodying it. What has that journey been like for you?
Wow, that's a lifelong question. Let me, I can say that I always knew that we were meant to be happy, that we were meant to live joyfully. There's just a profound knowing that I now know was my powerful intuition. I just knew that from a young age, and I knew that we weren't meant to live lukewarm lives. And so even though I was, brought up in the matrix of, well, this is the way life should be, or, this is just how life is, you got to push through the hard. And I didn't buy that matrix of you just have to show up at a job every day and get your pay. And, I always loved, this vision of working in a creative way rather than in a hard way. And so, finding a way to be playful and creative and fulfilled in my work. So I just knew that was what I was supposed to do. I didn't know how that was supposed to evolve, but so that was at a young age. And so basically what I've done is just paid attention to this energy that gets me excited, this energy that gets me enthusiastic, this energy that, my childlike energy that wants to wake up every day and be in the joy of the moment, be in the joy of living, and watch those patterns that come in that have caused me to settle or sabotage or, all that programming, and get really committed to freeing myself from whatever it is that's held me back. And so it's been a process of, coming in with that knowing and then experiencing all these conditioning, all these patterns that, I grew up with in my childhood, but also in the matrix, right? That have programmed me to look in a more limited way about what's possible, to constrict my bright, joyful spirit from a young age. Just wanted to shine. And so I've been, like all of us, affected by that. And so my unique journey, at this stage of my life now, I know that it all happened for me. I was born with that original joy, with that original creativity, born with this powerful light, and I could feel that. And then it got dim, as I got older. And it led me to eventually wake up and start my journey back. And that led me to learn about the psychology of women and the collective wounding of the sacred feminine. And when I started studying that on my path, it was like a light bulb went off. And so I saw the meaning of all the conditioning that I had been through, and I saw how my own spirit had been oppressed by that wounding. And so that moment was my moment of, I found my path to purpose and meaning, to free other women from that matrix of the collective wounding. But in order to do that, I needed to free myself totally. And so I've been doing that radically for many years, and I'm not stopping. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Was there anything in particular that brought that aha moment that sparked all of this?
I can tell you that there are many on my journey, and what it feels like when that aha moment happens is an activation of a knowing. And if any of when people are listening, it's like our soul knows what our human self forgot. And so there were moments where I could feel the thrill of a possibility of returning more fully home to myself. And for me, those moments happened in connection with others, in human relationships. So when I was 25, I had gone to a prayer meeting, actually, and a woman spoke about spiritual growth, and that we are not our wounds. We are a brilliant, beautiful light. And when she said that, I saw that was true. I knew it was true, and I needed to connect with that light. And so she was the first woman in my adult life that activated this knowing. And so I started to mentor with her, and I got to a certain point, and then there'd be someone else that would be met with what I would encounter on my path, the sacred bonds of the soul. And I would feel that possibility of expansion, and knowing that these certain people were on my path to assist me in my next level. And so I can look back and see how provided for I was along the way, with the people that would help me activate parts of myself and strengthen those parts that I knew that I needed and wanted more of. And that has led me to being with you here today. So it's a journey of sacred co-creation and collaboration with those bonds that have helped me become more and more and more of who I am today.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. I like to call them divine appointments. And I can just imagine us, before we come into physical body here, that we're having a little meeting up there, and we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to help you. We're going to show up. And you maybe have many interactions. You may not always recognize each other right away, but when the time is right, you meet. And it's kind of like having maybe you've received messages in your inbox, but you haven't opened them, or you didn't realize they were there. You haven't checked. And it's like, and suddenly you see them and you're like,
I've been waiting for you. You finally saw me, right? And I agree with you. It's like, it's anything can help us remember that. Just being out this morning, I was out by this beautiful tree in my front yard, and I've seen that tree, but this morning I saw it in a much more profound way. And I could feel the messages it was giving me. And part of it was, I've been waiting for you. And there's more to that I won't share, but it's that when we're tuning in more deeply to this energy of source, how it shows up every day is magical and new and different than it was the day before. And
Yeah.
that's what keeps us in the joy frequency, is returning to that original childlike openness and receptivity to the miracle zone. Now it's always here, but we leave it,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't leave us. It's just seeing how it's showing up every day. And
Yeah.
that's how I stay in the joy too, on the lookout for the
Beautiful.
messages. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love that. Thanks, Marcia. Yeah. So
Yeah.
along the journey, we all have moments where we find that there's certain things happen and it really zaps our joy. And it's like, what zaps your joy? What
Mhm.
are those things for you?
Mhm. Well, it's interesting. You talked about, we agree before we come to our soul assignments. We all have soul work here, right? We're meant to be doing. And I too believe that we contracted for all this before we came, right? And so, one of a few years ago, so I had this vision when I was 25 of a center for healing and growth. I went into my heart and, met my husband. We created this amazing center together, talk about a soul appointment with him. And a few years ago, I had a thriving private practice as a therapist and workshop leader. And I could feel this zapping joy. It was as if I would wake up in the morning, and even though it was great on the outside, everything was thriving, right? Something inside um, was, I was starting to constrict, not looking forward to going to the office. And one morning I woke up, I had a very, very busy week ahead. It was dark winter morning, and as I was getting dressed, I heard these words, "Free yourself, Marcia."
Mm.
And I was like, what was that, And and then I heard this other part say, you're not getting away with this, right?
Yeah.
It was like my higher soul, my higher self was talking to this part that was like, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm not feeling the joy.
Mm.
And so it was a little threatening because that was my financial security. It was what I knew. It was okay on one level. So what I'll share, it was lukewarm. It wasn't horrible. And my mind had tried to talk me into it because it was pretty good, right? But my soul was like, no, you are you are settling for a lukewarm life, and I want you to go from blah to bliss. Like I want that for you, right? Which is my free gift, by the way. And, so, and and it was threatening to I'd say my caterpillar nature to imagine this butterfly that was waiting to emerge. But that started me on having to take the courage to take a whole new path. And so in the last 3 years, I shed my practice in the form it was.
Mm.
And I went into my soul, my heart, and had to truly listen to this next edge of evolution for me, how I was meant to serve the world from overflow more, and how I was meant to create something new that I could get excited about, that I was on fire with, that
Mm.
I could feel that enthusiasm every day. And so, in order to do that, I needed to create time and space in my life. And so, I had to really shed working as many hours as I did, being turned towards others, and create more balance in my own life and create a way of serving women that actually works better for them and for me. So that's what I've been doing in the last 3 years, is completely transforming the way I serve.
Yeah, beautiful. So that's,
I could tell you more about that, but yeah,
well, we have
that was,
so much to talk about. We're gonna have to have more conversations. Yeah.
yeah,
But I think this
yeah,
ties into realizing that what you're saying, that what zaps your joy is anything that is no longer feeling aligned with your soul, right? So
that,
then
right.
yeah, and I think that, but the beauty is that by being aware, just bringing awareness to what zaps your joy, it gives you an opportunity to see, okay, why am I tolerating this? Why am I putting up with this? What's holding me back from letting this go? Right? And when you do let that go, it can spark your joy. So what sparks your joy more than anything?
And that's true. Although, what I have seen, and that's why I created this 5-step process. it's not meant to be hard, but it's not easy, right? Because when we start to dream bigger, it can be very threatening to the logical, linear, fear-based scarcity mindset that can come quickly in and hold us back. It's an internalized part of us that's threatened by possibility because there's a part that clings to security, clings to the familiar. And like a baby with its bottle, it's a challenging thing. And for many, for all of us, but I work with particularly women, it can push up a lot of psychological programming, patterns, past trauma, all those things, those energies, those emotions that need to be deeply seen and acknowledged and held in love and compassion sufficiently that they don't hold back that self from actualizing and going forward with courage and fierce devotion to, like a warrior energy towards what we know we're meant for, our destiny. Because we are designed to thrive and we are designed to shine our light fully. And so there's this balance that we need to find between honoring the fear and all those things that come up, and then, but never giving up, and always saying yes to taking action to keep on moving forward, because that's where the life is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So when you have moments where some of these old patterns kick in, because I don't know if you experience this, but I certainly do. I've done, many of us have done so much clearing work and healing.
Yes.
And yet still sometimes a pattern comes back and you're like, what the F? I thought that was done, And it can take you like, wow, blindside you. When that happens, the moment that you realize, what are some of the sacred strategies that you use every day that keep you, that reconnect you with your joy and that really keep you aligned with your vision and your purpose?
Great question. And I know this is mostly for visionary entrepreneurs who are creating their soul-aligned business from their vision and their heart. And it's a great thing. I just talked to my husband about that this morning before this call, because what I do is every morning, the minute I lay my feet on the floor, I give thanks for another day and another breath. So I consciously shift into gratitude the moment I hit the floor. And what I do every single morning, and I do this with all of my clients, I take a radical stand for the Me First movement. And I call it the capital M, capital E First movement. It's that higher self that I need to empower other women to tune into, but I do it radically every morning, is tune in to my energy and paying attention to perhaps those energies that are from my wounded self or my conditioned self, and start to notice when those are kind of operating the radio station inside, and learning quick ways to, well, obviously sometimes it's not as quick, but how to show up for those as the observer self, as the loving self. So what I've done is developed a consciousness of my higher self sufficiently that this part learns to show up for this part and be very tuned in to what I might be needing in this moment to shift into that. So if anyone's listening, I think that the first key is letting go of any resistance to what's showing up, and cultivating a presence within that watcher, observer, curiosity, loving higher self. And for all these women that are out there, we do this with everyone else, right? We're always tuned in. Are you okay? And how are you feeling? And and what do I have to turn towards doing in others? But when we learn we have the power within us, the love within us, to be turned towards the breath first, turn towards ourselves first, and put that oxygen mask on first, then we learn that we have the power to nurture and nourish and realign with that energy, and let that energy support us within ourselves. And this is very empowering. So that's what I do every morning. I take time, and I'm very creative with what I do, and I encourage every woman in my program, there's no cookie cutter, right?
Mm.
So it works for me, may not work for you, but figure it out. And then what also happens is what might work for a while, I might need to do something else
Yeah.
because it can be new. So find your unique path to bliss and joy. That would be my message, but put yourself first.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so important. And, not just for women, there are plenty of men who are really become very, very, very good at giving, 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 and find it very difficult to receive as well. So, I think it's about bringing that, modeling that through whether you're in a female or male body, but modeling that feminine and masculine quality to come together, really, that they can actually support each other to thrive. Huh? Because if one is out of balance, then that's going to show up in a variety of ways. So I love that. I think for our audience, hearing Marcia talking about some of these practices that
Yes.
she's using, then to just maybe see if one of these really creates a bit of a spark within you and you go, whoa, I would like to give that a go. I love what you said about how practical is that. You get out of bed and the moment that your feet touch the ground, that you say thank you and express gratitude. What a wonderful way to literally step into your day with that conscious alignment. That's really beautiful. Love that.
Thank you. And what
Yeah.
I want to say about that is learning to practice gratitude, even when it's hard, even when it's painful, even when it's difficult. That's a commitment, and that's a decision we make. And
Mm.
it's a practice that helps us remember that whatever's showing up is worthy of love, and also worthy of trusting that there's a message or something that's being given to us at every moment. And it's not always easy.
Mm.
But, I remember somebody saying to me once that I realize that life doesn't get any easier. I need to get stronger at navigating through life, right? And so I love what you said about the male and female. I so am resonant with you there. This is way beyond women. It's more about balancing within each of us, the feminine and the masculine.
Mm.
And because we've been operating a predominantly masculine culture that puts doing and external ahead of being, we need to work our way back to the balance between the inner and the outer, the being and the doing. And
Yeah.
depending upon how far we've gone in the doing, they bring it back to balance. Some people need a lot more time to recover and
Yeah.
get back into alignment.
So
So if any
true.
of you are listening, figure out a way to get back in that balance so you can enjoy your life again, or maybe
Yeah.
for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think another thing that you brought up that's really important to be aware of is that, wow, what is joyful for you in one moment may not be joyful the next. So to be open to what shows up, So to stay in that childlike wonder sense of, oh, I wonder what's going to be bringing me joy today. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, and being open, that can be very threatening when you think you're supposed to, as a business owner, I just already planned this event and not feeling it, or I did it but I'm going through the motions, not feeling it. That's can be kind of threatening, because then you have to sit down again, and I know you've been doing that. Listen, create space for what the divine download wants to reveal to you about what you carry for our evolving world, that's completely new and original, cutting edge, and never been done before,
Yeah.
right? And you have a sole responsibility to show up for that, because only you or I or anyone listening can accomplish our unique mission on the planet. So we
Mm.
have to be always, at our post, in a way, staying very open.
Yeah, beautiful.
Even though
Juicy.
it's scary, but it's also joyful.
Yeah. And I think that that's true, realizing that we're to be able to express gratitude for even the things that suck. And that's part of
Yes.
this whole journey of realizing, when things suck, to say thank you for this shit experience that's helped me to get to where I am. I've done plenty of that. It's like,
Me too. Me too.
yeah.
And bringing compassion to whatever it is that's showing up. It's not,
Yeah. No. And thereby, when you stay connected, and the more that you do, stay connected and with your joy accompanies you through no matter what is going on in your life. And the crappy moments, even the crappy moments kind of don't feel as bad as they do when you're not connected with your joy, you know. So it makes it lighter, yeah, lighter to
Yeah.
be with it and to embrace that and say, okay, you know what, let's come home to love, let's come home to a heart, let's just bring this home.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
Yes.
that.
What comes to me around that too is the whole consciousness of our purpose. When we are aware of the part we play in the grand scheme, the orchestra, it's so important and so valuable. And I teach women, and I agree, it's not just about women, but in my programs, it's mostly for women. Their destiny is much bigger than they may comprehend, right? And so when we wake up and we grasp how important we are in a way of being humble enough to see our greatness, you know, the ordinary actions, the difficult things that we need to show up for in our daily life, when we can see the bigger picture, we can then come into a place of ease and grace with the hard. You know, for instance, we have a pet we love, and that pet needs to go to the vet, or a child, or whatever it is we're doing. When we can recognize that we're called to our post, and this is our unique job to do. When we can then do it with that joy, it comes from that bigger why, because it's connected to our purpose.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think prioritizing yourself and putting me first, that's been so judged as being selfish, which is to guilt trip
Yeah.
people into, you know, conforming to all that old stuff. So yeah, putting yourself first, unless you fill yourself up, even though we know that up here, it's about bringing
Yeah.
that into the body. Yes, that's so powerful.
Yes. And for
So
those entrepreneurs, I just want to say, for the people that are having, you know, soul line businesses, it's the same thing. You know, what is it that keeps us in this joy every moment? It's the big why. We received a calling, we received a download, and we want to be at the service of it. But you and I both know lots of challenges show up, right, along the way, lots of difficult things. And so to keep our vision fixed on the big why, and being and showing up for everything that shows up from that bigger vision, can really help when things aren't working out, right?
yeah, and in addition to that, I think it's just so important to have sacred circle, whether that is with your girlfriends, whether that's, you know, the guys with their male friends, you know, have that bonding space where you can feel safe, where you can let your voice be heard, and where you can be received and supported. And something I think that
That's
is,
right.
yeah, it wouldn't it be awesome if that was part of school curriculum, you know, growing up with that. Wow. Who knows? Maybe we get there.
I was just thinking that, and that's actually what happened to me. I was with women in my individual counseling, and now the women were coming in saying, I feel great when I'm with you, but I don't feel so good. I can't sustain it. And that created this movement in me to create sacred circles. And so that's what I've been doing now. I do work one-on-one, but I saw the manifesting, the acceleration, the breaking through of the conditioning, and the creativity that came from the collaboration and the bonds. And so I'm on fire, just like you, I believe everyone needs their sacred circle in order to create and become who they are totally meant to be. It's
Yeah.
in close collaboration with others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So as we're wrapping up our time together here, which is going too fast, we got so much more we can talk about. But just quick, I would love for you to just maybe look back with all that you know now. Was there an experience a time in your life that was pretty challenging, where you wish that you had experienced or been able to receive or know more joy?
Yes. What I could say is listen to your intuitions, and when you feel constricted, take that very, very seriously. Don't tolerate it. Don't wait, and take action. And what I look back on my life, and I know it was perfect, I had to work through the regret. There were times when I waited way too long to act on what I knew.
Mm.
So trust your knowing and
Yeah.
don't wait.
Yeah, it's interesting when you know, as we're watching all the different interviews and the conference, there are certain threads that running through this whole thing. This is one of them. So I love that it's coming up again.
Yeah, like I think it's all that conditioning that we've been in, that the mind that just constricts and comes right in. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm done with that. I'm breaking up with that way of functioning. But
Yeah, right.
anybody listening, break up with it now.
Yes. And to help with that, you've created this beautiful gift from blah to bliss. Can you tell us a little bit about that? We'll put the link below, but give us a little background story on how that came to be.
Well, we are in a culture that's predominantly mind dominated. That's shifting as we wake up in consciousness. We're much more than that. And that knowledge comes from an activation of the heart. And so in my programs and in the work we do, my husband and I both do, it's making the shift out of mind into the heart. And when we do that, as we become familiar with the language of the heart, it completely transforms us from the inside out. And so my free gift is designed to help people make the shift out of mind-dominated functioning into living more in their heart. And getting familiar with it, with the bliss frequency. We are wired for bliss. And so that's a very basic training. It's a free PDF and a meditation that I created just to get a little taste of this blissful frequency.
Beautiful. So for our audience here, if you feel like this is something that you would really love to experience, then go ahead and download that and come join us in our practical joy experiment. Because one of the things that, as this whole Joy Evolution Summit was coming together, we realized there's so much deliciousness being shared, so much inspiration, and receiving all of that is awesome. But then what do you do with it? So we are inviting you to participate in this practical joy experiment where you take nuggets of gold from the different speakers that you resonate with and start applying that in your life in an area where you would like to experience more joy, and then start witnessing the magic unfold. And the beauty is we've got a private Facebook group where you can join us, so be in community with others who are on this amazing journey to share your celebrations, share the challenges you encounter, and receive support, cheer each other on, and to really have that experience of embodying joy. And that as we each embody joy, like you're talking about, Marcia, you experience that bliss frequency. We are like tuning forks that are walking around the world, and others in our environment or in contact with us start to experience that frequency and then training to that joy frequency. So imagine we each choose an area where you'd like to experience more joy. You bring these practices in. Imagine what we'll be celebrating by the end of the year and beyond. I'm excited about this. So, wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Marcia, for being here and for sharing your beautiful light and your joy and your brilliance with us. And I look forward to seeing what unfolds over the coming months. And I know that, there'll be plenty more we're going to be talking about, I know.
Yes. And just anyone listening, follow your bliss, follow your sweet spot. Get to know it like nothing else, and that will completely shift your energy. And we're doing that right now as we're following our bliss that led to each other, and that's the magic and miracle zone. We're in it together.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcia. And for everyone watching, until we meet again, many joyful blessings, and go forth and let joy be your guide to a life that is worth waking up for every day.